Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. Also, make sure you turn off the refrigerator's water supply underneath the sink. In this video, we're going to show you how to change out the LG refrigerator water filter head. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new water filter head. The water filter head is located in the refrigerator section, and it's what the water filter locks into when you install it. The main reason you'd be changing it is if it's damaged and the filter isn't locking into it, or it's leaking and you're getting water in the refrigerator. In order to change the part, we have to open up the left refrigerator door. Now that we have the door open, we can reach in and we're going to throw a towel up on the shelf to catch any water that may come out when the filter is removed. To get the filter out, we're going to turn it counterclockwise to release it. Once you have it released, we can pull it out of the housing. Now that we have the water filter out of the way, we can reach in with the Phillips screwdriver and take the screw out that holds the housing to the top of the refrigerator. Once you have the screw out, there's a locking tab towards the back, so we're going to pull it forward to release it, and then we can just set it down. Now that we have the housing off the top of the refrigerator, we can go around back. Now that we're on the back of the refrigerator, we're on the right side where the lines go into the refrigerator. We're going to take this cover off. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take the screw out. Once you have the screw out, we can lift the cover off and set it aside. We need to get some slack in these water lines so we can pull on that assembly inside to make it easier to take the water lines off. We're going to use a 3/8" wrench to push down on the collar of this one. All you have to do is come down and push it down, and then you can pull the water line out. Once you have the water line out, you can just set the other end aside. Then we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to loosen up these top two clamps that hold the water line to the back of the refrigerator. You don't have to take them all the way out, just loosen them up so the water line can slide. Once you have the clamps loose, we can push the water lines through the back of the refrigerator. Now that we're back in the front of the refrigerator, we're going to grab the assembly and pull it all the way out to the front of the fridge. Once you have it pulled to the front of the refrigerator, you can see the water line is attached right here, and it has one of those locking tabs. So we're just going to reach in and pull that out and set it aside. And then we're going to take a 3/8" wrench again to press the locking collar in so we can pull the water line out. Once you have the water line disconnected, we can pull the assembly out of the refrigerator. Now that we have the assembly out of the refrigerator, we can take it apart. First thing we're going to do is take the water line out. We're going to take the locking clip off. If you have to, you can grab it with a needle nose pliers and pull it off. Once you have it out, you can set it aside. Once you have the locking clip off, we're going to take a small 3/8" wrench and push in on the locking collar so we can pull the blue line out. Once you have it out, you can set it aside. With the blue water line out of the way, we can take the ends off the filter head. They're kind of tricky to get off, so we're going to take the back one off first. And there's a couple locking tabs right here that we have to release. So we're going to get underneath them with a small flathead screwdriver and just push them back a little bit on each side. And then we're going to take the screwdriver and push it down inside between the filter head and the cover so we can flex it and release the locking tab. The locking tab is right here, so we're just going to get the flathead screwdriver in here so we can flex the cover just enough to release it. Once you see it coming out, you can pull up on the cover to pop it off. Once you have the tab out, then we can pull the cover off. Now that we have the back half off, we can take the front half. There's a locking tab right here that holds it in. All you have to do is get underneath it with a screwdriver and pop it free. Once you have it lifted over the lip, you can just pull the filter head out. and set the cover aside. Here's the old water filter head next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. Now we can put the filter head back into the covers. We're going to put the front one on first. All you have to do is line up the rails and slide it all the way in so it snaps in. Once you have that in place, we can put the back one on. Back one goes in the same way, just line it up and put it into the rails. You may have to wiggle this one around and make sure that it goes under the front cover and then snap it into place. Before we put the filter head assembly back into the refrigerator, we have to reattach the blue line. All you have to do is push it in to the smaller fitting and make sure you push it all the way down so it locks into place and you get a good seal. Once you have the blue line all the way in, we have to put the lock in. Remember, it goes in between the collar and the valve. All you have to do is push it down into place so it locks the water line in. Once you have that on, we can put the assembly back into the refrigerator. We're going to have to push it all the way to the back and get the line turned over so it goes into the filter head. Make sure you push it all the way in so it bottoms out. Once you have it all the way in, we can put the black locking tab in. All you have to do is press it between the collar and the filter head. Once you have it locked into place, we can turn the assembly around, and you want to make sure that the blue line goes through the smaller opening in the back. Then we can rotate it around and lift the assembly up and push it onto its mounting tab. Once you have it in place, you can just push it back, and then we can use the screwdriver to put the screw in that holds in the front. Once you have the assembly secured to the top of the refrigerator, we can put the water filter back in. All you have to do is push it back so it goes all the way in, and then turn it to lock it in place. Now that we have everything installed in the refrigerator, we can close the refrigerator door. Now we're on the back side of the refrigerator. We're going to reconnect everything back here. First thing we're going to do is reconnect the blue water line. All you have to do is push it in so it locks down into place. Make sure it goes all the way down. There's no locking tab on this one. Then we can put the cover over this. We're going to hook the top in first and then rotate it down, making sure that the blue and white lines go into their little openings. We can push it down and lock the side tab in. We can use our Phillips screwdriver to put the screw in. Now that we have the cover installed, we can tighten down the two upper clamps that we loosened up to secure the water line. Now that we have the water line secure, we can plug the refrigerator back in, turn the water back on, and make sure it starts to cool. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by appliancepartspros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.